Hello and welcome to another episode of Issues and Insights. I'm Bryce Shoemate with Hardin County Government. And man, we got a great show for you all today. And I know you get tired of hearing me say we've got a great show, but we picked out some wonderful ones to have at certain times of year. And as you can tell from the background and listen to maybe some of the noise in the background, we're here today at Hardin County Animal Care and Control. And with me is the director, Mike McNutt. And Mike, I know right now as we come back after Christmas, man, the temperature has tanked on us.
Yes, sir, it has. And the temperature, a lot of people think just because animals have hair that they're protected from the elements, and that's simply not true. They do better than we do, of course, but a few things you need to keep in mind. The smaller the animal, the more the cold affects them. So, you know, your cats and your Yorkies and your poodles, those smaller type dogs and cats will get colder quicker than the bigger ones.
And a lot of people that have been watching this have got a lot of smaller animals. So, I mean, this becomes a big concern to them, and, it's not just a concern to people that have their animals outside the majority of the time. It's a concern for people that let their animals out, even though they're more of a home pet.
More of an inside animal.
Yeah, people let them out, and so that becomes a concern as well, correct?
Yes, well, of course, when you have outside animals and you know it's going to get cold, there's a few things you can do. You can put straw in the dog houses. It generates heat. They have heating lamps. I would recommend you do your research on them because, anything plugged in can be a fire hazard.
Well, I know we talked about that before we went on air. We talked about some different things, and I know you're concerned about causing a fire in some of these.
Yeah.
Which that fire could also spread to the homes. We've had
True.
3 house fires since Christmas. And a lot of times when we look at this time of year, it's electrical hazards from heating sources.
Right, and safety first, always safety first. Like I said, the straw generates heat on your inside dogs. I mean, if you can get your dogs inside of whatever size they are, all my dogs are inside. That's, but that's my choice, and that's not me trying to tell anybody how to live their life. But if you can bring your dogs inside, whether it's just in a barn or in a garage, just make sure it's safe for them, but get them out of the elements a little bit. It's always a good thing. I got a little thing I was going to show you. We do this at my house, and it's for the inside dogs. When they go outside, I have a little Dotson. Okay, when the snow gets tall, he will try to go to the bathroom on the concrete, which when it's cold, I'm okay with that, but he's more comfortable going in the grass. So I have a piece of plywood that I've cut. I put a hole on each side with a rope in it. And when I know it's going to snow, I lay it down in the area that they typically go to the bathroom in. Now, yeah, that's taking a little extra step for the comfort of your dog, but many people out there, I mean, come on, your dogs are your family.
Right.
So I set that down, and when it's time to go out, I grab one side of the rope, I lift it up, the snow falls off, and he goes to the bathroom where he's comfortable going. Mm-hmm. Now, it's better if you go ahead and pick up because it will freeze. I mean, if the animal does have to do number 2, you might as well go ahead and pick it up because it's going to freeze. But and then the next time I come out, I pick up from the other side so that I keep the snow on each side of it building up so they always have their area to go. It helps out a great deal. Mm-hmm. So and
it's something simple that people can do.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to use plywood. That's by choice. That's what I use. I have here just a thick piece of cardboard. The only thing I worry about on this is if it gets windy, it can blow away. I've seen people use tarpaulins for this. Think outside the box. Use what you have handy. I'm not trying to get you to go out and, spend a whole bunch of money, but,
Sure.
Just use what you have handy.
And, with as many of the stores that we have out here that are getting shipments in this time of year, cardboard is readily available. In fact, a lot of the stores are trying to get rid of these old cardboard boxes.
If I saw the other day on the news, recycling centers have all kinds of cardboard because of the season. So it's out there in abundance, and you can get it. And it's just one more step to make your pets more comfortable.
Let me ask you this. We see some of these stores that offer heated pads or they offer a heated water bowl, and we talked about that before we started. Those kind of things, of course, are plugged into some type of power source.
Correct.
And what's been your experience on those kinds of things?
I mean, I've had good luck with them personally, but I read every single bit of information there is about it before I ever even try it. I've had horses my whole life, so You know, hauling water back and forth to your horses gets old, and it's very hard to do. So we had the little heater that goes in the bottom of the bucket that keeps the water from freezing. That works great. You know, as long as you follow all the precautions, I would say you should be fine. But it's all, like I said, always safety first.
Mike, if people have questions on what we've talked about today, with ideas on how to keep their animals warm, or some ideas that you all might have, in other words, kind of pick your brain for some ideas, what's a number that they can call here at Animal Care and Control?
They can give us a call anytime, Monday through Friday, and on Saturdays, 270-769-3428.
And what are the times that they can call?
I would say 9 to 3 would be best.
Okay.
Just because we get in at 8, and of course we answer the phones, but that's typically when we're getting flooded with cold weather calls right
And
now.
what's that number one more time?
270-769-3428.
And folks, we'll put that at the bottom of the screen so that you all can pick that number up and call that number as well. But there's some other ways that they can contact y'all. Y'all have a Facebook site
Yes.
that they can go to, and that Facebook site is?
Hardin County Animal Shelter.
Okay. And folks, you know, you
Use
can
our county website too, which I've
Okay.
been recommending a lot.
Right.
HCKY.org.
And there, follow the links in the website to take you to Hardin County Animal Care and Control. You'll see this guy's picture on that on their spot for Animal Care and Control, and people can actually send you an email and ask questions,
Sure.
and they can ask questions over Facebook site
Sure.
as well.
And I
correct?
always recommend talking to your veterinarian. You know, Hardin County has got some incredible veterinarians here. We're truly lucky to have these guys here.
Blessed, yes.
And I would say, you know, one of the first things I say is anytime you adopt a pet, build a good rapport with your veterinarian. I mean, just like you would your personal doctor. And like I said, yes, we are blessed that we have so many good veterinarians here in Hardin County. And I would recommend, if you have questions about hypothermia, I will answer any questions I know, but I always recommend talking to your vet. You know, if you do think your dog or cat has had hypothermia, if you think they're starting into it, a couple things I would recommend is put a blanket into the dryer, let it heat up a little bit, wrap the animal in it, and then call your veterinarian immediately.
Okay.
We have a lot of cats out in Hardin County that are out on the outside, you know, dealing with the elements, and everybody thinks they're fine. This is not true. They're smaller animals. They need protection from the elements. One of the things I'm going to show you guys real quick is if you have outside cats and you don't have a garage they can go into, you don't have a shed they can go into, there's cheap fixes you can do. Of course, you can use the dog house if they'll go in the dog house, but the little things that we recommend are, we have these little storage boxes. You can get them Walmart. You take these and you set them upside down. And what we do is we cut a small hole here, just big enough for the cat to get in. And then what I'll do is I'll take a piece of carpet and staple it over top of it and slit it down the center. And then I fill this inside with either a blanket or straw, but that gives the cat a way to get out of the elements. A lot of times I'll put the food. I have barn cats at my barn, and they go in the barn, but I still put one of these inside just as a little added protection, because I think I could put the whole thing together for like $5, $6.
And if you've got blankets or quilts or old quilts or tarps, you could actually lay that on the outside for even some extra insulation for warmth.
And if they're, you know, if you don't have a dog house and money's tight this time of year, if you call us and we have something available, we will be more than glad to help you out.
That's great information.
I mean, we will, you know, even right now, we're trying to help people out with dog food. If we have an abundance, we're sharing. So give us a call. You never know what we may be able to help you out, not help you out with one thing, but we can help you out with another.
And folks, one of the things that we want to get across to you all is that Hardin County Animal Care and Control will take donations of food and pet care products all throughout the year. If you maybe have extra, or you may have lost a pet, you know, because of age, and you don't know what to do with all those products or extra food that you have, they're more than willing to take those things off of your hands, especially for worthy projects like this, where you're giving food to those folks that maybe not have the money to be able to buy that this time of year.
We have handed out 2 dog houses this year. We handed out some straw for those houses, but for other houses. And yesterday we took a call about a person who needed help with dog food, and we told them, come on down, we'll help you any way that we can. Of course, we do this for Hardin County residents, and we will help anybody we can help.
And do you feel like when you start taking calls for our animal care and control officers that go out into the county, what do you think is your biggest problem this time of year when you start looking at these temperatures like this?
Well, a lot of people think that the law says that these animals have to come inside and that these animals have to have this, that, and the other thing, and it's just not true. All the law says they have to have is 3 sides and a roof and fresh water. Now, frozen fresh water is still water, so a lot of people think we can go out and we can say, hey, you need to, and it's not true. We can make recommendations. We can try to, a lot of times I'll tell them, try to help them first. Try and, if the doghouse is not suitable and we have some straw, tell them, I'll bring you some straw. We do our best to help because some people just believe that the animals have been fine outside all along, they're going to be fine now.
Sure.
And there are plenty of people that think we have the right to go, you've left your animal outside for 3 hours, I'm taking it. And that's just not the truth. That's against the law.
So I think that's important information to get out to folks because not everybody understands that, and there's people that are animal lovers and they see that the animal's outside and they feel like it's being neglected. So one of the first calls they make is you all. And I mean, I know we want to not discourage anybody from making calls to you all because there are plenty of legitimate
Sure.
Calls that you all go on as well.
Yeah, and we're going to investigate it regardless. And if there is something there, we're going to do our job. And if there's not, we're going to try to make recommendations. If I had my way, when it got cold, every animal would be inside, but every person would be inside as well, and I can't control that either. All I can do is follow the letter of the law and make recommendations to the people that are out there in Hardin County.
Do you all have many adoptions this time of year when we start getting into the cold weather? Does that seem to go down or?
No, the adoptions have seemed to be kind of running fairly steady, but what happens is we don't have as many animals coming in the door. During the summer months, we're flooded with animals. The lowest numbers that we had up until, I would say, the 1st of November, we were running about 200 plus animals every time I did the numbers. We're actually down to like 150, which, that's a lot, but it's better than, us having 200. It gives us more room to try and do different things to get them out safely.
Sure.
So.
Sure. I know there's other things that you want to get out about taking care of these animals in this cold weather. I kind of got us off track a little bit, but I just wondered those specific things. But what are some other things that we need to keep on track with for animals, and not just small animals, but I know you're a horse lover.
Mm-hmm.
We may have some things we want to get across to our folks that are watching on their farm animals as well.
Well, I think a lot of times, especially like with horses and cattle, they don't take into consideration that why it may be -2 degrees, the wind chill is -20. If you can provide a lean-to for your horses or your cows to go behind to get out of the wind, they will do it. So I would say take, of course, if you can bring them in, that's always best. But if not, try to provide them some sort of shield from the wind. And the cold wind is essentially the worst thing in my opinion, for the cows and the horses and the herding animals and they'll huddle together. But if you give them something to block the wind from them, they will get behind it,
And most of our people that have livestock here in the county are veterans. I mean, they know what needs to be done. But we may have some new livestock owners just within the last year that, it's unusual for us to have these kind of cold temperatures.
We do have a lot of really good horse owners, cow owners, that know what they're doing. We don't receive a lot of bad calls about that, and I'm glad. A lot of other counties, you're not so fortunate. You start receiving those left and right. But I'd have to say that our, the cattle and the horses we have a really good group of people. There are those few here and there that just go out and say, "Oh, it's a free horse," and take a horse, not knowing that there's a lot of responsibility that comes along with owning a horse. I mean, it's a lot of work to take care of a horse properly. And
well, my wife will tell you that I'm one of the world's worst as far as taking animals in this time of year. If we find a stray out somewhere, she calls it Bryce's Zoo. But, a lot of times people feel sorry for an animal when it's this cold and bring them inside,
Right.
and then probably end up here or somewhere else. We've adopted a lot of pets out from our home, that we found in strays. But do you seem to get a lot of those types of strays coming in this time of year?
We get a lot of people that are bringing in dogs, and we get a lot of really, how would I put it, peculiar stories as to how that they got the dog. That when you're listening to it, you're like, you took your neighbor's dog. You took your neighbor's dog. And of course, we never recommend that. If you call and talk to us, we will go out and at least talk to them. But like I said, in the end, all I can do is follow the letter of the law. And I think that frustrates a lot of people. We do get a lot of people like, you're not doing anything. I'm doing everything I can. And that's ultimately where we're at.
And that's a great segue into something else, because with people that have lost their animals, you'll allow them to put it on your all's Facebook site, and you all keep a list as well in case your all's animal control officers pick up that animal. You try to keep that list as well.
Well, I think one thing people don't understand, that there are days when we will take in 40 animals in a day, and then they'll call and they'll say, hey, did you take in this dog? It's next to impossible for anybody to remember every animal that comes through this building. We do our best, but it's always best if you lose your animal, it's always best for you to start here first. Look at your neighborhood, of course, but the minute you're done, come here and check what we have. What you may say looks like a beagle, we may think looks like a fox terrier.